Now, if you're really interested in building what would be considered an actual business, you must be able to measure data. You must have data that are measurable. You must be able to use data to make some critical decisions in your life. In Nigeria, we are quite big on mysticism, right? Something is not appreciated until it's mysterious. It's easy for those of us that are Christians for people to say, "Oh, I'm successful, and I don't know how it happened." And while that might go for a couple of times in your life, nobody wants to live their life not knowing exactly how something happened or why something happened. I don't think that there's any pride in it. I think that there's some sort of irresponsible living if you have absolutely no explanation as to exactly how your life turned out the way it did. Now, but don't quote me. I'm not a pastor. I'm just an ordinary guy, right? So I want to share with you some really, really important information that you need to start to keep as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's running a business. The first concept that I want to explain, in reality, anything that is not measurable does not exist. That's the truth, right? If you cannot measure certain things in your business, you can't improve it. If you don't know exactly what's happening, how do you make it better? So you must be able to measure a couple of things. Revenue, right? What is revenue? Revenue is how much money that is coming into the business. Now, why is it important to measure revenue? Because revenue is the vote of the market on your decision as a business. Now, you have a product in the market, 10,000 people are buying it. That's because I tell people, the market is the ultimate judge. Doesn't matter what the competitors or whatever it is. No, the market is the ultimate judge. If the market votes for you, what happens? You win. And the reality is that while customers might tell you so many things, right? Customers ultimately vote with their pockets. Sony did a bit of research about a couple of years ago with the Sony Walkman. In this research, they put, a list about 6 different colors of Walkmans, and they've put these focus groups together, and they wanted people to come and do, pick which Walkman they would prefer, the color they would most likely buy, and all of that. So people voted. And the instruction was, when you finish voting and you are going home, you are allowed to pick one of the Walkman to go home with. So the results came out and most people picked yellow. Most people picked yellow as the one that they preferred. But when they were going home, most people went home with black, right? So that's to tell you how sometimes we customers are not exactly truthful, or maybe we don't really know what we want. But when it comes to the point where we have to actually pay money, we are almost certain that we only pay money for what we want. So revenue is a judge of how the market sees the decision that we've made as a company. And so what should you collect in terms of revenue? Who's buying? When are they buying? How are they buying? What are they buying? In what channel, in which are they buying? You want to get all that information, because you might have 2, 3, 4 products in the market and realize that certain products are doing better than the others. That is the market voting for or against the product you're putting in the market. So it's very important to measure revenue, and not just in terms of how much money is coming in, which is, really good, but also where are they coming from, who's making that decision, and the likes. So the first thing I like to tell people to measure is revenue. Revenue is critical because as far as your business is concerned, right, that is the way the market votes for or against whatever it is that we've made a decision for.